Debbie and her children talking shite. Debbie and her children talking absolute shite.
Hello and welcome to the first ever podcast.
That wasn't me.
I'm laughing because Craig's laughing.
Hello everybody and welcome to the first ever episode of Debbie and her children talking absolute shite. We have written down a selection of random topics on tiny bits of paper, screwed them up into tiny little balls and put them into the hat of destiny. So every week we will choose a topic at random and chat shite about it. Here we go. First week. What's it gonna be? This is nerve-wracking. Ooh, this is a good one. School.
I was on a very strict warning from my teachers that I must not be late for my lessons anymore. So this particular day I was running late as usual. And these buildings at Garrett Green with the classrooms in, they had sort of grass banks all around them, a lot of them. And it had a little sort of slope downwards to where you could go down and lift up. You could reach up to the ground floor window. Anyway, I was in a hurry. So what I wanted to do was throw my bag in the classroom, pretend to the teacher when I did walk in that I had been there because my bag was there and I'd nipped out again to go to loo or something. So I ran down this bank. Everyone else was already in the class. I ran down this bank, opened the window. It was a pull-up window and Susan was sitting right at the desk by the window. That was what happened. And I opened the window wider and said, quick, take my bag in. And she wouldn't. And I said, just take my bag in. I'm going to be in real trouble if I'm late for this lesson. Take my bag in. And she wouldn't take it. So I got hold of the window, went bang on her head, ran into the, inside the building, ran into the classroom. And so I had to have a talk with a couple of people about it. I said it was a complete accident and I slipped down the bank and hit her head with the window. And then she was off school for a couple of weeks, actually. She got taken out of school. And then when she came back, she said, you were very lucky because if you had gone 2 centimetres over to the left, I would have had brain damage. And of course, I very wittily said, I'll make a better job next time of it then.
Okay, well, yeah, thank you for that. So you almost killed somebody. Craig, I know you've told me about your school days before, and I know you went to school with some quite strange people from what I've heard. Didn't somebody wear a crash helmet in one of your classes, I remember you saying?
Well, that's what happens when you move from London to Norfolk, isn't it? But
Okay.
yeah, that's right. I don't know. I can give you a school story, I suppose. You probably all heard this one, but this is not like primary school. It's in high school. More stories from high school. But I do remember one time in high school, there was this girl that I actually quite fancied. And for reasons I can't comprehend, she actually come up to me and just started talking to me on the playground one day. I was like, oh, this is really cool. Never normally talks to me. I'm in there. So I was standing away talking to her, and it was going really, 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 really well. I was like, wow, this is great. And then from the sky, this big lump of bird shit came down. And it just landed on me.
No!
I was really embarrassed, but everyone else saw. And the girl actually never spoke to me ever again in school since that day. And I never saw her again. And now I'm kind of cool with that, actually.
So yeah, year 6, I think it was like about 11 years old. And at the time I was collecting Doctor Who trading cards. That was what I was getting excited about at the time. And I had to leave the house at 9 o'clock to walk to school, and it was about 10 to 9. So what came in the post was a Doctor Who card holder folder, and I was over the moon with that. I was pretty excited. I was excited about that. So started walking to school. I only got like a few minutes to look at it. Started walking to school. I was thinking about it. I was excited about it. I was like, I'm going to look at that. The second I get in, like halfway on the walk to school, I did like an excitement fart, but poo came out with it. I was scared of being late to school, so carried on walking to school. I was thinking, while I was walking, I was like, what's the first thing I'm going to do when I get to school? Like, I've got poo in my pants, so I have to sort something out. So I got in there, went into the changing rooms, took my pants off. Instead of throwing them away, I put them back in my bag because I was also scared that Mum was going to be angry that I threw a pair of pants away. But so our changing room was joined on to the classroom. Now, I'd completely forgotten about the poo pants on my back. So all day everybody was like, oh, what's that smell? I can smell shit. I can smell shit. And I was like, yeah, I can smell poo too. Like, I don't know what it is. And so I went throughout the day. The teacher could smell it. We were all looking for it. I went to open my bag to get ready to go home, and a big waft of poo come out because the poo pants were still in there. But I'd completely forgotten about it. So I grabbed my bag and ran home.
Very good, very good.
Wow.
Very good. Yeah.
That was quite a
Bless
story,
it.
yeah.
That was really good. It made me heave a little bit.
Right, so picture this, like the science block was a load of different floors, all full of science classrooms. And during lunch, it started off me and like 3 boys that came out of detention was like, fuck this. So we ran down each corridor, like each block had a set of stairs running down. So we ran down, knocking on all the doors and stuff, and just being a bit of a prick, really. And then we came outside, we were like, yes, such a rush. So we got a load of the year below to do it with us. So there was probably about 50 kids starting at the top now. And I was at the back because they were like, oh, I'm not going at the back. And then we got all of them to run all through. And I was at the back because I was like, yeah, I'm not scared. And this big science teacher came out. I can't remember her name, but she was this big fat woman. And she came running on. But I've jumped down a little set of stairs, and she was like, as she's gone to grab me, I just heard like a big bang, a few big bangs behind me, and like a slash. And yeah, that was it. I'd never looked back. The next day in the catering class, I was making a fry up. I was cooking egg, and I got taken out my egg cooking to discuss what happened.
Well, so you did find out what happened then?
Yeah, I think I knew she fell down the stairs. But
oh, right. So when you saw her the next day, was she like in a wheelchair?
I didn't see her. She was
ever again.
We went to a school trip to Calais for the day, and we went on the ferry. And I got in big boy's trouble because I decided to hang over the side of the ferry and spit into the channel. And as I did this, I said, look, I spat into the channel. So what it means is that I now own part of the sea. And suddenly all of the kids started spitting because they wanted to own part of the sea as well. And it was a big boy's trouble for that, yeah.
Big boy's trouble.
But the good news is that I own part of that sea now. So yeah.
I bought a new fridge freezer. So I decided to defrost my old fridge freezer. So that night, my son had a school trip the next day, and I'd made him a packed lunch, and I'd done it the night before, so it was all ready for him to take the next day, and I'd put it in the fridge. And because I knew fridge freezer coming, I defrosted my freezer and got rid of like hairy fish fingers and carrots and all that stuff. I put it in a bag also, and I left it out on the side. Anyway, my son went to the school trip the next day, and it all sat down to have their packed lunch, and I'd given him all the stuff that I'd defrosted out of the freezer by accident. I'd given in the wrong bag. So he opened up like frozen fish fingers and carrots and old bits of peas to eat. And I felt so bad. But,
Did he eat it?
He said, oh, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. No, bless him. He looked at it and said, I'm not very hungry. And yeah, I've given him the wrong bag. Yeah. So
Oh, that's
Thank you,
hilarious.
Sam.
And I just think, poor Jimmy, but he didn't tell anyone what was in the bag, did he? They just kept saying, aren't you eating your packed lunch? He was like, no, I'm not hungry. And he just kept it secret, bless him.
I know. Fancy giving him the wrong bag.
That's a bad one. That is a bad one. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one.
Yeah, I like that one.
At Carrot Bean, where you went to school, Mum, there was a was there not a
Carrot Bean.
fence? Was there not a fence in the back that backed onto I don't know
Hospital.
I don't know whether you can say that now. I don't know what the right terminology is, but
I was Springfield Mental Hospital at the time.
Oh, was it? Okay, Springfield.
Yeah.
Did you live in a cartoon? Okay.
I had a yellow head. No.
And I know you used to say that apparently there used to be a few escaped patients wandering around. Is that right? Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, only bits like, because our netball court backed onto the fence, the metal fence that ran between the hospital grounds and the school grounds, basically. So we'd all be out in our PE knickers playing football, and quite a few of the gentlemen from the hospital would be there poking things through the holes in the fence.
Wow, what do you mean?
Hang on,
Do you mean like
PE knickers? PE
Did you say
knickers?
Very like
pea
their feet.
knickers?
PE knickers.
Pea
Pea
knickers.
knickers.
Not PE knickers, PE knickers. What are PE
Pea
knickers?
knickers.
PE knickers, physical education knickers. Oh, all right, our gym kit, if you like.
So they used to poke things through the fence. So how can you be so sure though that it wasn't one of your like geography teachers dressed up and pretending that he was a patient?
No. The netball teacher used to then be screaming at them. Our netball teacher was a female, actually, but she used to be screaming at them to put it away and to go away. And that used to seem to make them more excited, actually, and they'd get even more vocal after that. But yeah, that was a real nice thing when you were playing netball. Yeah, had to watch out for that happening. That was just one of the risks of being at Garrett Green.
So who actually enjoyed school? Did anyone actually enjoy it?
No.
I did.
Billy enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, you had a little sort of, you had a little business empire going on when you were at school, didn't you?
Oh, what, with the sweets and stuff?
Well, he used to get me to buy all these multi-packs of Coke and sweets and everything, and I thought it was because he wanted them for home, and he'd be selling them all.
Coca-Cola, by the way. And there was
Mhm.
that time that kind of involved two of us. So me and Steve almost killed our PE teacher's nan. So I don't know why, but Mum always used to let me buy all these crazy weapons like slingshots, laser pens and stuff. So it was when this laser pen turned up at the door. We waited till night time, and we'd go around shining it through windows, and we just heard this big voice just bellow out, "Stephen!" So we shit it, he knows your name. And then it made us. So we had shined it, and this guy was like mental, like he was an ex-Marine PE teacher, like he just didn't care. And we all had to go apologise to him the next day because we shined it through her window, and she thought she was being burgled and almost had a heart attack.
Wow, that is quite mad. Did anyone ever go on any school trips at all? Anything wild and wacky happened on your school trips?
We went to the ecosystem, which is like a big sort of polyphine dome. There's a few of them. They've all got like exotic plants and stuff in. And we went with my DC class, and we were at the back, sort of the boys chilling at the back, walking along. And the tour guide goes, "Oh, this is the world's hottest chili." And so we were like, "Well, fucking, we've got to pick that." So we pick it, and we all come up in big red blotches. One of our mates had a chili seeds in his eye because he washed his eyes. He rubbed his eye, washed his eye with someone's water who they'd been backwashing in, and we all had to we all got insanely told off for it, and all had to stand at the back of this big meeting at the end.
Oh my gosh!
So you're not allowed there again, Bill.
I remember one that Stephen always used to tell me. It was told me a couple of times. I don't know whether you've heard this, but tell the one where your teacher told you to all stand up. It's quite embarrassing, but I quite like this one.
Yeah, it's all right. So yeah, we had one of the head teachers. She was a pretty angry woman anyway. I was in science, and this was in year 7, so I was small. I was really small. And they
What, like Tom Thumb?
what's funny about Tinkerbell?
Nothing funny about that.
Got a little toy car.
Stuart Little. I was Stuart
Inch
Little.
high Stephen.
Yeah, so I was really small then, and I was sat next to one of the rugby. He was actually the biggest guy in our year, and he was a rugby player. He was like 6 foot tall and 6 foot wide. So I was sat next to him, and he had broken his leg playing rugby, so he was on crutches, and he had one of those big like leg boots on, but so he couldn't stand up. So when the head teachers walk in, everybody's meant to stand up. So she walked in, he didn't stand up, but I did stand up. She looked at him and she was like, well, why haven't you stood up? And he was like, oh, I've broken my leg, miss, like, I can't stand up. And she was like, oh, that's fine. And she pointed at me and she was like, well, why aren't you stood up? I was like, I am stood up, miss.
That is a good one. That is a good one. I am stood up, miss.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to climb on top of the desk.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm going to tell other people that story about you. It's fantastic.
Oh, Stephen,
So let me get this straight. So when you was stood up, was he still taller than you, even though he was sitting down?
Yeah, so I came up to his shoulders and he was sat down. So I mean, he was like the biggest. He was like the size of a fully grown adult.
Hold on. Think about what you're saying. You came up to his shoulders when he was sitting down.
I was stood up. I was stood up, and I came to about his waist.
Well, you were Stuart Little then, because no one's that's ridiculous.
This guy is not single, Mum. By the way.
Oh, pathetic.
I could see you licking your lips there.
I absolutely was not licking my lips. How can you come up to someone's waist if they're sitting down? Think about what you're saying.
Well, no,
I know what I'm saying. I was there.
That's what he's saying. He did come up to there.
He could have put me in his pocket.
It's no fantasy, Deborah. This is the truth.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is yeah. Wow. Okay.
So when I was in high school, the only reason you ever went on the French trip was to go and buy fireworks, because over in France you could buy them even if you were just a teenager. You didn't have to have ID or anything. So we were all excited, and we went over, and we were staying in the youth hostel, and so everyone had all these different rooms, and so all day long everyone had just been buying fireworks, and a few people set them off in the street, and just French people screamed at them, and that was fine. But when we got back to the youth hostel, the guy who owned it was this guy called Johan, right? And so everyone went to their rooms, and of course everyone wanted to start lighting their fireworks and throwing them out the window. And so people started doing it, and you hear these little bangs and all these little giggles, and it was all going fine. But then, like, literally everyone was throwing fireworks out the window and setting them off at night. And eventually, what happened was our history teacher was there, and he was from Birmingham, and he was a really nice guy, and we'd not really seen him angry before. And so I was sitting in bed with my friend, and giggling away at all these fireworks, and the door opens, and this light floods in, and this history teacher, stood there. He goes, "Right, can you lot stop fucking about? Johan's going ape shit down there. Ape shit going." And I just always have the phrase, "Johan's going ape shit," stuck in my head.
That'll make a good T-shirt. But it's funny because me and Craig and Donna went to the same school for a while. Yeah. So we shared quite a lot of the same teachers. And I mean, we had a few weird ones. There was, I don't know whether we can say their names, but it was a particular science teacher who there was rumours going around that she used to be a stripper. I don't know whether that happens in every school.
I know exactly who that was.
Yeah, it begins with a P.
That started because she left her diary on her desk one day.
And it said, "I am a stripper."
No, it had all the days of the week, and on Thursday it said "stripping!" exclamation mark. So I think she just meant stripping her wallpaper, but of course we decided it meant that she was a stripper, and that's how that. She wasn't a stripper.
The fact that you went through a teacher's diary is pretty nuts.
Yes,
though.
hold on a minute.
Never have even missed that.
Well, that rumour started with our year because that happened in our science class. And she just had her diary open on the desk and stepped out for 5 seconds. Oh, let's look at the teacher's diary. It's so fucking cool.
Well, you would do. You would do, yeah. I mean, has anyone got any strange stories about their teachers? Did anyone have any really odd teachers?
We had a similar situation, and I had an English teacher. And one day, she had left her bag open on the side, and we decided to sort of have a rummage through it to see what she was up to. And inside there, we found there was a pack of playing cards, but they were porn playing cards. So there was all these different, and we had taken them out and we dished them out and shared them between each other. And we were like all laughing at them. And she came back in, and we were still holding the cards. And she came back in, she sat down. She was like, she looked for her bag, and like we'd thrown like all her bits out of her bag. So she had seen somebody had been in her bag, and she had seen that the cards hadn't gone. And so one by one, we sort of had to all go up and give the cards back. Now on my card was a woman
with her legs over her head.
And no, but she had a big African American sausage in her mouth. So it was like sideways. So she was like biting it like a Mars bar. It was like she had a Mars bar in her house, and as I handed it to her, we made eye contact, and just sort of gave it back and then sat back down. But yeah,
what kind of teacher was she? What did she teach?
English.
Oh.
Was that Mrs. R? Began with an R.
And she wants to go back to school.
Yeah, I know.
I can't remember her name actually. But
that teacher had confiscated those cards from a kid at school that very day, and she didn't own them all.
I bet that's what happened.
Well, we didn't really get in trouble for it because she knew if it had come out that she had taken porn cards to school, that she would have got in more trouble than we would have done. So,
gosh,
you should have taken them to another teacher and said, "I found a card with a man's willy on."
Yeah.
I always think this is, I don't know whether this is true or not, because I've never heard of it happening ever again, but didn't you have a teacher once that actually farted? And she was...
yes.
No. This one's more embarrassing, really, because this was at primary school, and because I was quite far behind in my schoolwork, I used to have to go to something called the Learning Loft. And we go up there with. What's funny about that?
Are you still at primary school now?
I'm in the Learning Loft now.
He's in the Learning Loft. Yeah, it's a prison.
He's on lunch.
He's on his lunch break.
There was only like 3 or 4 of us in there. Like one of the kids couldn't even talk. Like that's the sort of people I was in there with.
One of them wore a crash helmet.
One of them was dribbling, with a crash helmet.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if one had a crash helmet on if that happens.
The weird thing was, it was a bit of a weird day anyway. It was quite hot in there.
I bet every day was a weird day in the Learning Loft.
We don't talk about the Learning Loft anymore.
I don't know why you're in the Learning Loft. I'm quite annoyed about that.
So who farted in the Learning Loft then?
Sorry,
yeah, so we...
Who farted in the Learning Loft? Nobody's ever said that sentence, ever.
That's an album title. That's an album title.
Like
that was the question
That's
of every
the new
lesson.
album by Striper. Who farted
That was
in the
the
Learning
question
Loft?
of every lesson. That was what we were learning. No, she wasn't even a proper teacher. She was a teaching assistant, actually, so she didn't really teach us much. But she used to also scratch her bits with the rulers, with the wooden rulers.
Oh
no!
Yeah, we saw her do it all the time, and then she'd come over and she'd like use the ruler on her paper and stuff. And I don't know if it was her breath that was fishy or if it was the ruler. But
Oh my god! I bet you asked for help all the time, didn't you?
yeah. No, but yeah, she basically, what had happened was she was drawing on this like whiteboard thing, and she dropped one of the pens, and she
dropped something else as well.
She dropped a dookie. She dropped a hot dookie. So she turned around. So she dropped the pen, turned around, so her butt was facing us, and as she bent over, she let rip, and it was a fairly big one, and we were all looking at each other, we were laughing. And she turned around, she was like really snappy. She was like, "What are you all laughing at? We all do it."
we all do it.
We all
Did
do
she
it.
remember that when she spoke? What are you laughing at?
Yeah.
Was she the mother from the Goonies?
She also shut the window once she'd done it.
Ah, no!
Yeah.
Such oven.
And you can
Such
imagine
oven.
you can imagine the Learning Loft was pretty stanky anyway, but
Yeah.
Steve originally said, like, she was, "Oh, you're closer together in a submarine. Imagine how they feel."
oh yeah, no, she did say stuff like that.
What?
It wasn't very comfortable in there. Don't know if anybody remembers, but so obviously me and Bill went to the same school for a while at secondary school, and Bill had sent a rumour around the school about me. I had a day off, and So I was ill or whatever. I came in the next day, and from the second I got into school, people were coming up to me and they were saying, "Steve, you can beatbox. Is it true you can beatbox?"
No.
And I was like, "Nah." There was this song that had come out by Ed Sheeran at the time.
Yeah.
At the beginning, there was like a really, really rapid bit of beatbox. Everybody was like, "Oh, you can do this bit of the beatboxing song. You can do that bit." And I was like, "No, I don't. I've never really tried it, but I could give it a go, maybe." But all day, people were coming up to me asking if I could beatbox.
Oh,
I had
Billy,
no
why
idea.
would you
And then
do that?
one person let slip that Bill had told them that I could beatbox.
So he told you,
Snitch,
did you
snitch.
tell him that that's why you had a day off,
Billy.
because you can beatbox?
I was at a beatbox tournament.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
I used to do this to Steve probably every other month.
Here's a good question. Did anyone ever play truant?
Not for like the normal reasons you normally do. Most people just do it. We actually, the one single time I played truant was in the first year of high school. And because I was a nerdy person that was into model aircraft, we heard that one particular day in the week that the last flight of the Vulcan airplane was going to fly over Thetford Forest. So we decided to take the day off of school. But we told our parents that, we told them that it was like a big thing. It's like, oh, it's the last flight of this aircraft. Everyone's going to be there. There'll be food and everything. There wasn't. And so we just, all three of us, and we got on our little bikes and we decided we were going to bike all the way to Thetford Forest to actually see this plane fly over. But we saw a whole lot more, because halfway there, we stopped off for a little break. And we're sitting there like in the forest, and we heard this noise, like this groaning noise. And so we explored a bit in the forest, and we found like these little notes and like bits of clothing. There's like a pair of knickers and stuff. Got to this clearing, and there's this couple going at it in the middle of the forest. And just as we were trying not to laugh because we were young, so we thought this was hilarious. And then my mate gets up and goes, "Oi!" And this geezer looks around and jumps up. He goes, "What, you back here?" And he starts running after us. So we're like, "Bundle, get to the bikes!" And I got out the bikes and we rode as fast as we could away from him.
Oh my God. When I was in Germany, quite a few things happened. I'll try and condense it, but basically, we were told that we had to only speak German while in Germany, and we all stayed with these host families. And the people I was staying with a girl called Vera. She was quite boring, and her family were quite elderly. Her parents actually, and I managed to, using my little German phrase book, I was trying to ask questions, only speak German and stuff, and it was all really nice. But her family were quite old. Anyway, I accidentally asked her more or less completely bald father if he wanted to go to the barbers, and they were looking at me, and this Vera girl was, they were just staring at me. And I said to the girl, "What's the matter?" And she was like, "You asked my father if he wants his hair cut." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." The man was bald and he was really nice. I was like, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." Loads of things happen like that.
What a bitch.
But funniest thing,
Mum started World War II.
the human teabag story. So back in old Blighty, we only ever had itchy blankets and stuff. And when I got to Germany, they were quite cosmopolitan and modern. And they had duvets and stuff, and I'd never seen one before. So every night I had my own room, and every night I thought, this is great. It's like a mixture, a cross between like pajamas and bedding. This is fantastic. So I used to undo the poppers, climb in the duvet and do the poppers up around my neck, because I thought that's what you do with them. I've never seen one in my life. It was all new to the girl from Tooting. So I used to do all the poppers up around my neck. And nobody knew I was sleeping like that until the night before I was leaving. And the whole family had got me some little presents to take home. And I went off to bed. I got in and I'd done all the poppers up around my neck. And I did think, well, perhaps Germans got really little necks, because the gap was quite tight when you did them all up anyway. And then the last night before I was going home quite early in the morning, I got into bed and there was a little tap at the door, and I said, "Oh, come in." And the whole family came in with little gifts for me to take in the morning. They were really, really nice. I got on with them really well. And the mother, they'd never seen that. That's how I was sleeping. And the mother saw me in the bed with and she came over to me with her hands out. And I thought she was going to kill me because I couldn't understand what she was saying. And she got closer and closer to my throat because she was going to undo the poppers. And I was sort of starting to go, But she was like, "Nein, du musst nicht." Anyway, she got me out and told me to go under the duvet and put it on top of me. And that's how I slept that night. And that's how I learned what you did with a duvet. But I was there for about a fortnight, and every night I'd been climbing into it and doing all the little poppers up. I thought it was brilliant, actually. But in the night, I used to get out wearing it if I needed a wee, because I used to think it was a cross between like nightwear and bedding. So I used to hop across the landing in the duvet to go to the toilet like a human tea bag. So if any of them had got up in the night and seen me, it would have been probably quite scary for them.
Was the toilet downstairs? Because that would have been hard.
No, it was upstairs. It was upstairs. Okay. No, I only had to go across
Would you take it off to go to the toilet?
Well, yeah, I started to do the poppers and pull it down because I thought it was like
she with her.
I'd never seen
it. No, just kept it on.
I didn't put it inside it. No, I did. I did used to do that. Yeah, but
they undid it after 2 weeks, and there's a load of piss and shit at the bottom of it. Full up to the neck.
You wrong-uns.
Right, so we're gonna go now. Does everyone want to say bye?
Bye.
There you go. See you next time.
Debbie and her children talking shite. Debbie and her children talking absolute shite.